Rise of the Machines is the third installment in the Terminator franchise and tells the story of John Connor after the passing of his mother is now once again hunted by a Terminator called the TX, who is also programmed to not just kill John Connor, but the people around who John Connor will inspire in the future and will fight with him. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is also another Terminator, is like the T-50. It's like a different version of the Terminator, which kind of looked like the T-800. He's sent back to protect John Connor, but he doesn't take commands from him. He takes commands from Catherine Walrus, who is John Connor's love interest and wife in the future, I guess. And they are in like a little road trip scenario, like in Judgment Day, where they're trying to run away from the TX and stop Skynet once again. This is one of the most controversial Terminator films in the series, and I could see why. The second film ended with such definity. I don't know another word to describe it, but it felt like a definitive ending to this series, and a third movie does not need to be made. And I could still argue with that, even with Dark Fate coming around the corner. I still don't think another Terminator movie is necessary because the second one ended so perfectly and so emotionally impactful that it made money, and a sequel was inevitable. And so this movie came out, and honest to God, while I don't think it is awful, I am really, really, really disappointed with this movie. Like, the way it's shot, and the way the dialogue is written for these characters, and the way it's directed, the way it looks, I'm fine with a Terminator movie having a new look. I'm all for it. I'm all for sequels being something different, and that makes it more interesting, like the Fast and Furious or Indiana Jones. How the second movie is much darker than the first. But the problem with Terminator 3 is those first two movies are so dark and so intense that this third movie, taking this 2003 bright look to it, it doesn't help with the CGI being so bad that it makes the whole movie look fake. This is like a Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull scenario, where that movie was shot so brightly and so in a studio that's hard to feel like you're in this environment. And that's what I felt like watching this movie. I felt like these are sets than actual environments. I didn't feel like I was in this world of the Terminator or the future or anything like that. The best part is the opening scene at the war. That's how the original two movies also opened, with the war. So they're nothing much different. And it's like a recycled plot of T2. Though there are elements of the story, little elements that make it feel different and much more of its own. Still, the veins are really similar to that second movie. I would have preferred if this movie was just a movie about John Connor during the war in the future. And that's what we got in Salvation, which we will talk about another time. But this movie did not felt like it wanted to take those risks. And the new cast of characters playing these new, they're bad. Catherine, I felt like is a really forgettable love interest. John Connor, I really did not care much about this version of John Connor. I mean, his story is still emotionally resonant, but that's because it was helped by those first two movies. But there isn't much to this John Connor that I could latch on to this time around. He's like homeless. He's not in the best stage of his life, and then the Terminator has to come and protect him, and it's just not really interesting. I find the kid version of him, Edward Furlong, much more interesting, and he was much younger when Judgment Day came out. Overall, I actually talk about this movie more the more I'm starting to actually dislike it. This is a really bland, plain movie. The action is just really over the top. There isn't any intensity to it, and it doesn't help that the CGI is so noticeably bad that it takes you out of the experience that is Terminator. The characters were poorly miscast, and the best parts, which is the opening scene and Arnold Schwarzenegger, are not enough to help this pile of crap survive an hour and a half or 2 hours of your life. And for that reason, I'm going to give Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines a D+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.